Mr. President, in every single state, there are Americans relying upon the National Flood Insurance Program to protect their home. Wherever it's shaded, and it's shaded in every state, there are people who are making claims on the National Flood Insurance Program. And Congress has the responsibility to serve all Americans, regardless of age, income, or zip code. Since President Biden's implementation of Risk Rating 2.0, seniors and low and middle-income homeowners have been left behind. Earlier this month, I led 8 of my Republican colleagues urging FEMA to end the Biden-era Risk Rating 2.0. I went to work with the President to fix the mess the Biden administration had created. And now I want to share with my colleagues the same case we made in that letter for why action is needed now. Every year, on June 1st, the phrase, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, comes to mind. For the folks in Louisiana, it's a way of life. A hurricane season begins. With a higher Gulf temperature than usual, meteorologists predict 13 to 19 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, and 3 to 5 major hurricanes hitting the U.S. before the year's end. That's somewhere in the U.S., not just the Gulf Coast. I will note that the meteorologists always predict a lot. It's easier to be wrong predicting a lot than to be wrong predicting very few. But nonetheless, we should hope for the best and prepare for the worst. In my state, if there's such a warning, folks know what to do. They put in some non-perishable food items. They get their prescriptions renewed. They take care of their windows. They check on their neighbors. And they will also be bracing themselves financially. Folks in my state are still trying to get back on their feet after 4 years of financial distress under the Biden administration. Add the cost of recovery if there's a severe weather event, and many families just cannot afford it. That's why we have the National Flood Insurance Program, a safety net program for millions across the country, including those in my state, for the last 50 years. Because of the National Flood Insurance Program, a retired couple in Livingston Parish who just paid off their mortgage sleeps better knowing that they are covered the next time or if they ever flood. The single working woman in Cameron Parish rests assured knowing that there is help available when it becomes time to replace the siding and roof tiles, which may have been torn loose by torrential winds. But this program, the peace of mind for those who rely upon it, is being threatened. Since FEMA, under the Biden administration, implemented Risk Rating 2.0, premiums skyrocketed, making desperately needed protection unaffordable for millions. Over 80% of NFIP policyholders in Louisiana saw a spike in their premiums after its implementation in 2021. The protection that millions desperately need has become unaffordable. Now, when I say unaffordable, I'm not talking about a $100 or $200 increase, although that might be too much for some families. We're talking about an almost $2,000 increase for a homeowner in Wagaman, Louisiana, about a $4,500 increase for a homeowner in Gibson. And so this is where they started on the white, and this is where they went to on the red. And so if you say unaffordable, for a family of limited means, paying almost $600 to go to $2,500, big jump. That's 334% jump. To go from $600 to $5,100 is a 750% jump. And here in Belle Chase, Louisiana, goes from $570 to $8,800, over a 1,400% increase. Now, that's unaffordable. For a family with limited income, perhaps fixed income, to see that kind of jump is, one more time, unaffordable. So the question is, has FEMA been transparent about these increases? And the answer is no. In fact, some of these folks have never flooded. They're not really quite sure why their premiums are rising. But because they're rising so rapidly and so much, they have no option but to drop their NFIP coverage altogether, which of course is the worst possible situation because now they're totally vulnerable. It's important to note that Congress has not been allowed to weigh in on these increases. Under President Biden, Congress was stonewalled, and now with President Trump in charge, I trust there'll be more transparency into the Risk Rating 2.0 methodology than we've had. Do we have another? The American people, and certainly those in Louisiana, made it clear when they elected President Trump that they're ready to end the confusion and high prices of the previous administration. They were talking about the grocery store, the gas pump, and yes, also flood insurance. National Flood Insurance Program, and if you add to that homeowners, is the heart of the cost of living crisis Americans struggle with under President Biden. Now, we have a chance to bring down prices on flood insurance in the same way that President Trump has brought down all these other prices, gas, eggs, milk, you name it. And I wish to work with my Senate colleagues, my congressional colleagues, and with President Trump to make life affordable again. As hurricane season ramps up, the clock is ticking. Let's act now. And with that, I yield.